Well, Mark, a disappointing evening. Just give us your reflection on the performance.
I think you're right. The first half was horrible. 20 minutes in the second half we were okay, but don't do enough with it. And then once they score the third goal, it's a bit of a dead duck really, and it turns into a horrible night. But you can't be that team in the first half, or that easy to score and create a chance against, and that lacking. So I just think all of our flaws, everyone's individual team, have been ruthlessly exposed again.
Second half came out fine. Team made some changes that like we might get one back, and then who knows. But of course the third goal then kills the game. But I guess a lot of the damage was done in the first 45.
Yeah, it was, and I think the 20 minutes after half time is a little bit more in line with the sort of team I want to see on the pitch and I want to be the manager of, and having those capabilities and that as a base level. But we haven't seen enough of that through the season really. We haven't seen enough of that often enough, and so we have to find a way of getting the best players and the most athletic players and the most energetic players on the pitch together as often as possible, and trying to change the dynamic continually so that we can be that more often.
Mark, appreciate your time. Thank you. Matt?
Obviously you're very disappointed with that, Gills fans too. What can you change from here to change the direction? I suppose it's 3 consecutive defeats and not a great performance tonight.
Yeah, look, it's loads of things really. It's a mess at the moment. The team looks a mess. It's so many ins and outs, chops and changes, morale low, loads of frustrated people. Me with the players' inconsistencies, the players with the inconsistency of coming in and out the team and not having runs and things changing. A little bit of that down to necessity of who can do what, and players coming back from injury and a tight time frame of game schedules, but nobody really cares about that. So what can we do? We can try to find a consistent team that can play together, which prior to Boxing Day we did, and it returned us 2 wins and a draw, and then we took that team into Colchester, and the inconsistencies of our level was shown, and then since then competitive but not enough in the Wimbledon game, and then lots of changes tonight at the start, and then it looks like that, it looks disjointed, and it's certainly not the intention to be 1-0 down after 6 minutes because they just run harder and faster than us, and that's not effort, that's just being able to do it really. So yeah, all the flaws are exposed, and it's January, and I think everybody would probably recognise that over a few windows the dynamic of the squad needs improving and changing. So a combination of lots of things really in terms of what we can do, but it's hard to talk too much in detail about that tonight.
Can you change it that radically in January to change things around, or is it not a radical change that you need?
It needs change. I don't know what radical looks like in everybody's mind, and January is a really hard window to change much, obviously. So yes, there can be changes and developments to the squad, certainly, and I think anybody who's taking a team in January is trying to do the same thing. So yes, we'll try to do that, and hopefully get to a point where we've got a bit more of what we need in order to be the team we need to be, because at the moment you can easily be forgiven for not liking watching the team and not liking much about it, because too often all parts of it look like way below the level that it should be, and it's certainly not the way in which we're working to try and do that. We're definitely not working to try and create that team. So yeah, lots for us to do, lots for the players to do, lots of stick together and all that stuff. But at the same time, we have to find the level of delivering what's required more often.
Players are obviously under pressure, and I think you see that fans' reaction and obvious frustration that doesn't necessarily help players. And perhaps when you're on a run like this, in contrast to Bromley, you look like they're flying. Are you under pressure as a manager now, and not just from the standards that you set yourself, but also from fans and maybe even from the owner?
Yeah, definitely from everybody, I think. And why wouldn't you be? There should be an expectation that we're a better team than that. that and too often has been a team that I don't really recognise or really enjoy watching as well. So like we're all the same in wanting a team that looks different to that, and then in moments it does look like we want it to, but it's too inconsistent and it's too incoherent with what we really want to see. So of course everybody's under pressure because runs of defeats, lack of goal threat, position in the league table in line with number one ambition. Everyone wants to be at the top, but what we should probably expect from this team at the moment is definitely underperforming in that sense. I don't think we are capable yet of being one of the top teams, but we're certainly capable of being better than we are at the moment.
There was a tweet from Brad Gannon yesterday talking about, I suppose, the way he hurts and Ian Shannon and the family hurts with the fans as well over, where Jules are at the moment, desperately wanted to get into League One as well. Has he expressed that to you? Did he yesterday, today even?
Oh no, we speak all the time. So we've spoke loads recently, and like what he said's no different to what we all said at the start. What we all recognise is just wanting something isn't enough, and we're miles away from that now. So yeah, the end point that we all want to get to is the same. I think everybody can see and understands that we're a long way from that, but also the group at the moment should be and can be and is capable of being closer to it than we are right now. But we're still a long way from it. So yeah, we've got lots to do in order to try to create the change that we need, and I think longer term in terms of strategy and idea of where we need to get to and the process we need to go through to get there, I think we all have very similar thoughts and ideas of what that looks like. And then alongside that, you have to be better in the short term than we are right now. So we have to reverse the form and the slide of the situation now, because it's nowhere near good enough, and at the same time work towards a picture that looks better than we are now, because otherwise we won't get where we want to get to.
And are there players on notice at the moment? You talked about some will come on the journey, some won't come on the journey. Is it a question of that during January as well?
I don't know. There'll be loads of changes in the squad, but I'm not going to speculate tonight on who's in, who's out and whatever, because it all depends on what's possible and what's available, but that's certainly not where my head is now.
Okay. And what would you say to fans? Obviously they're disappointed, you can hear the booing, I'm sure doesn't do anybody any good particularly, but people are going to vent their frustrations and it's the club that they love. What would you say to them about the run the team's on and what's possible?
I understand the frustration because it wasn't very good, and there's been too many games where we haven't been good enough, so I think exactly the same. I actually thought there's periods in games or parts of games where it's okay, but okay is not enough and we need more than that. So yeah, I can't if I was really aggressive and defensive, or I was really like vociferous tonight against that, people will say whatever they say about the team and about me tonight, and that's understandable, that's fine, and we haven't really got a leg to stand on tonight, so we can't really argue that at the moment. What I do know is I know that the club has real potential. I know that I'm good, and I know that we've got some good players, and at the moment it don't look like that at all. So we have to change that really, really quickly, or something has to change really quickly, because that's what we need to. We need to find a formula and a way of getting closer to where we need to be in the short term, whilst trying to build with a long-term picture in mind. Really.
You're still confident you can do that? That you could be in the top 7 beyond that?
Yeah, I've seen teams getting it last year that were further away from it than we are. So yes, but not like we are now.
Thank you, Mark.
You lost the fighting spirit tonight, didn't you, Mark? You got his second half. It was just, why do you think it took so long? Is it literally just the substitutions that you made?
Yeah, put the players that can do that on the pitch more often. It's not really a shock that happens. Loads of changes in the first half. Really poor first goal, and then you're shook from that moment. And we just looked really disjointed first half, which when you make 6 changes, and most of them out of necessity really, that's always possible. I think the reality really is everybody at the moment doesn't quite know what's coming and what we're going to get and who's going to deliver what performance, and that's me included. So until we get some real consistent levels, a number of the players that played at Wimbledon will be alright to play against Chesterfield, but it probably would have been too much to play 3 games in 6-7 days. Every team in the country is doing that at the moment, and that's why you get really random results, and I probably called that all those things would happen. I just hope that they wouldn't all go against us, and that's where at the moment we're just a long way from where we want to be, so lots to do.
And that disjointed first half can't help when Josh went down after 30 seconds with a head injury, twice had to go off. You're having to sort of rotate the team early on. It's disruptive, isn't it? Didn't it?
Yeah, it is. But he got through it. He had a stitch in it at half time and managed to come back out for the second half. So they're just parts of the game. Obviously, it disjoints it a little bit. You then have to slow the game and waste some time. So it takes all the momentum out of the game, really. But when you concede so early and such a poor goal, you're playing against a team that are direct, aggressive, intense. Got some pace in the team, got some hard running players in the team. They do what they do well, and they've been better than us at it twice, and so were Colchester and so were Wimbledon. So we need more players that can do that, as well as having the balance of players that can take the ball and handle the ball and make the moments count. And we had loads of entries in the top third and didn't quite make the quality that we needed in certain situations. So always, as a coach, you blame yourself and you take responsibility for everything. But of course, you're not responsible for everything. There's individual players that have got to do better, and a team that's got to do better as well. And at the moment, none of us are delivering a good enough level.
And there was a handful of players that weren't in the squad that were at Wimbledon. Were they injured? I mean, Masterson went off injured, didn't he?
Connor's hamstring, Aaron Rowe knee. I think that was it. Maybe that was not involved last. Daki, that was just obvious. So Connor will be out for a bit. Aaron has a chance for Chesterfield. Daki will be good to go.
Constantly juggling it, aren't you? I mean, if you had a 100% fit squad all the time, it would be a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think that's rare, and I think that's normal in this period, and with some of the players that we've got, that's just the reality of it at the moment. So when we get into after this period, the games thin out a bit. You do play less games, and if we can shrink the squad, balance the squad a bit better, get some more athletic players to help and get a little bit of an energy around the team, I think whoever's taking it, everyone would want to be doing that, and I think that's just really obvious for everybody to see.
And now it's your job, I suppose, to pick everyone off for Chesterfield. Tough away games.
Yeah, really tough one. So we'll be in tomorrow to try and get started on that, and then of course pick everybody up, and that'll be hard to do tomorrow, but by the time we get there, then there's an element of me picking everyone up. There's an element of individual players and teams having professionalism and pride to go and deliver the performances you need.